everyone. This is Henny Espinosa with Just Wish Foundation. Today we are joined by Monica Kelsey, who founded a nonprofit organization that literally gives the gift of life and allows babies to have a shot at the life they truly deserve. Her nonprofit organization is called Safe Haven Baby Boxes. Thanks so much for joining us on Just Wish, Monica.
Thanks for having us.
Monica, this undertaking is so personal for you. Tell us a little bit about your childhood and upbringing and about that moment when you found out that you were abandoned as an infant.
Absolutely. And I'll apologize now. I'm traveling, so hopefully I people can understand what I'm saying and I don't lose you. But, I was adopted. My parents got me when I was 9 weeks old. And I was adopted, but my parents always told me growing up that my birth parents were young and loving and couldn't care for me, so they placed me for adoption. It wasn't until I was older that I learned that that wasn't the case at all. And after high school, I joined the United States military, spent 8 years defending my country, became a firefighter and a medic after that, and just kind of life happened. Mm-hmm. And then when I was 37 years old, I got to meet my biological mother, and that's honestly where everything kind of took a turn. Just to kind of give you some history, she was 17 years old. She was brutally attacked and raped and left along the side of the road. And this was in August of 1972, when abortion was illegal in our country, even in the cases of rape and incest. And I'm not here to debate abortion, I'm just stating the facts. But she pressed charges against this man. He was arrested and charged. And if that wasn't the worst of it, her life was finally getting back to normal. She finds out she's pregnant, and she was hidden for the remainder of the pregnancy. She gave birth in April of 1973 and abandoned her child 2 hours after that child was born, and that child was me. So I come into this ministry as one of these kids that wasn't safely surrendered under the Safe Haven law and a Safe Haven baby box. And so now I'm giving options to parents so that they have this option available to them so that they can keep their child safe and their lives will go on as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Take us back to that moment when you met your mom and your biological mom, and you found out about this backstory of why she had that choice to abandon you. What was that moment like for you?
Honestly, it was the moment, that actual moment when it really started to set in. And I tell people that was probably the darkest part of my life, because not only was I whisked into this world by violence, but I was abandoned like trash. And so I was the poster of an unwanted child. And so hearing that after being told my whole life that my birth parents were young and loving and couldn't care for me, that was the dream back in the day. That was what I dreamt of every day, was meeting her and knowing that she loved me, and then actually meeting her, and that wasn't the case at all. So I had to find my faith again. That was one of the things that my adoptive parents instilled in me, was my faith. And so being on the worst roller coaster ever, I turned back to what I knew, which was my faith. And that's truly what got me through the darkest time of my life.
Yeah. And you said that you wanted to turn that into kind of an opportunity so that other babies, would be safely delivered and would be taken care of by families that are able to do so. So tell us about, you've mentioned Safe Haven, right? Tell us about the Safe Haven law. What is this?
So the Safe Haven law is in all 50 states, and it basically says that any parent who can't or doesn't want to care for their newborn child can legally surrender them at a Safe Haven location in all 50 states with no questions asked. And that law's been around for 22 years.
Wow. I haven't heard of that law, actually. And why do you think it's not as known? If it's so, if it's available in all the states?
Well, one thing is education. There's no money given by the states for education and awareness. And so the education is relied upon by the nonprofits like we are, that the people who are being the hands and feet of Christ that are giving their money those are the ones that we rely on to allow us to get into these schools to teach these kids that this is an option for them if they choose it. And so that's number one, is education and awareness.
Yeah.
And another thing, the Safe Haven law, when it was enacted 20 years ago or 22 years ago, it was a different generation. The kids that we are raising today is not the same generation that we had 22 years ago. And so we have to advance the culture. And the culture is, we have kids that will text you and never call you. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to see you. They just want to text you and be done with it. But they'll tell you over the phone. They won't tell you off in person, but they'll tell you over the phone in a text. And so we have kids that don't want to go face to face. So we have to advance the culture to allow a parent who finds himself in this situation the same opportunity to not talk to anyone, to basically, just walk away. And so the baby box comes into play because of the culture change, and allows these parents the anonymity piece that honestly they've been asking for many years. If you look at the abandonment stats and where the babies are being left.
Yeah. So tell us about that, the beginnings of your nonprofit, of your foundation. Tell us what finally kind of prodded you, how you got started, and tell us about the mission of your organization.
Well, the mission is to obviously keep babies out of dumpsters and trash cans while walking alongside their parents. We don't want them to walk alone. But we, for me to have come up with an idea like this, it's not really my idea. This has been in third world countries for many, many years, where they have baby drawers, baby hatches, baby windows, a drop box. Every country almost in this world has some type of box for unwanted infants. And so, here I was in South Africa on a speaking tour where I seen the very first baby safe. It was at a church. I was speaking at a church, and it was at the only church in Cape Town that had the baby safe. And I was so intrigued. I just couldn't get it out of my mind, because of what they were talking about, what they were telling me, and how it worked. And so on the flight back from Cape Town, South Africa, on a Delta napkin, I hand drew my version of the baby box, and then started the uphill battle in America of getting people to understand that, placing your baby in a box is a heck of a lot better than putting your baby in a dumpster or a trash can where there are no alarms, there's no heat. And so I had to get people to understand that this was a good option for them if the other option was a dumpster. And that was probably one of the hardest jobs for me, was to educate people on why we needed them.
So how does this work, Monica? Tell us, what are the steps? If you're a parent in crisis, what do you do to get help? What are the steps that you can take to deliver your baby safely, and to get the help that you need?
So a parent, all they have to do is walk up to one of our Safe Haven baby boxes, open the door, place their child inside that is under the age of the Safe Haven. So like in Indiana, it's 30 days. So the child just has to be 30 days old or younger. Place the child inside the medical bassinet. They take the orange bag, which has resources for the parent, free resources for the parent, and they shut the door and they walk away knowing that their child's going to be picked up in about 2 minutes on the other side of that wall. And so it really is that simple. I've made it pretty simple for these parents, but the box has alarms on them. They actually called 911 on their own. So the mom doesn't have to do anything. Nobody has to be standing there waiting for a baby to come through the box, because the box is going to tell them when they have a baby. And some of our boxes have cameras on the inside so that we always have a live feed on the infant only. The mom is never videotaped. But average time for babies in our boxes are 2 minutes, and that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And for the parent, can they call? Is there I understand that you guys have a hotline as well, right?
Yeah.
Questions, concerns.
Yeah, we call the hotline the workforce of our organization, because truly that's where the rubber meets the road. That is where we are walking alongside these parents. We are giving them options. We don't tell them to place their baby in one of our boxes. You
Mhm.
know, I'm actually quoted as saying the baby box is not a good option. It's only a good option if it's the last option this parent has left. And so we give these parents their options and let them make a good option. But if they can't do
Yeah.
like a parenting plan or an adoption plan, and the only thing that they have left to give is to place their child in an electronically monitored box called a Safe Haven baby box, then that's good enough. And we'll give her the directions on how to use that.
And in terms of the impact that you've had in the community, is this only available in Indiana, or is this replicated in other cities as well?
Currently, we have 150 boxes, active boxes in 9 different states. We're getting ready to launch in our
Wow.
10th state at the end of next week. Yep. And but we have, like I said, 150 boxes that are available now. If a parent doesn't have a baby box around their location, they can still walk into any hospital in America, hand their child to a worker there, and surrender their child legally. You know, as long as they're under the age of the safe haven law in that state.
Wow. And how do prospective parents that want to have couples who want to or individuals that want to take care and adopt these babies, how do they reach out to you guys?
Well, we don't do any of the adoption process. You know, when Christ gave me this job, my job was to keep these babies safe and out of dumpsters and trash cans, and then turn them over to people who can take care of them from there. And so the state law, whatever the state law requires us to do, some states require us to hand these babies over to the Department of Child Services. That's what we do in those states. In some states, they allow us to place these babies with adoption agencies. So it all depends on the state laws, but we do nothing with adoption. And you know, my job is so big right now, I don't think I could do anything more. So
I see. Just tell us a little bit why you're traveling right now. I understand that you're in the middle of was it a delivery right now, Monica?
So we just blessed.
Blessed, yeah.
Yeah, every time we activate a baby box, we bless it. And so we blessed the box in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And now we're heading back. We had a baby in our box 2 days ago. And so that was fun. That was Kentucky. And so we travel this country. I mean, you can see I'm literally on a highway somewhere in middle America right now.
Wow. How do you feel when you look back and realize that, you know, your personal experience was actually turned into something that has helped so many babies, so many families? When you look back at how much of an impact you've had in the community, Monica, how do you feel?
You know, I'm very humble because, you know, I often tell my birth mother's story. This isn't my story. This is her story. And I'm humbled by the experience, but I'm also thankful that Christ chose me for this role. You know, when I first found out that I was abandoned as an infant and conceived out of a brutal act of violence, I looked at my life as a curse. I didn't want to tell anyone. And I just didn't want this to be my life. And now today I look around and I think, thank you, Lord. Like, this was the blessing I didn't know I needed, but thank you for bringing this to me and allowing me to be a front runner for your children. And so I'm just truly blessed and humbled to be just part of this ministry. And even though I started it, I'm still just a small part of it. There's so many of us that work day in and day out to make this happen.
But I think, like, hearing your story, it really truly touched us and touches so many people. I think that's part of the legacy you're leaving behind, Monica, is that it allows people to also look into their lives and see how can I turn my own personal experiences into opportunities to help and make a difference in my own way. And we at Just Wish Foundation were just so honored to hear about your story and to support your organization in any way we can. And Mr. Jack Wu, our founder, is truly amazed by your courage and your tenacity to help the community. So we want to send a monetary donation to Safe Haven Baby Boxes and hope that more and more babies can be helped I hope you continue your work in more states, Monica. We truly support you. We applaud you. And just more power to you and your organization.
Well, thank you. And we truly appreciate you guys spreading the message of Safe Haven, because the more people that know, the less babies we'll find in dumpsters and trash cans. So thank you guys. And thank you guys for your donation. It truly means a lot to us to be able to do this work, and we're blessed to be entrusted with that.
Thank you so much, Monica. Thank you so much, Monica. Safe travels and more power to you.
And thanks. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
And if you